What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining for another fantastic live stream stock talk. Fantastic Sunday. We're going to be jumping into quite a few things. We just released a video a couple hours ago looking at some pretty key earnings that are coming out this week. Currently, futures are down just a tad, maybe at like 10 points. Nothing too write home about, nothing too crazy. But we have a lot of stuff to discuss. We have potentially looking at what Nikola can open up tomorrow to all the other various companies that are reporting. Or we're going to be talking about especially the large Wednesday after the close stuff. We have Tesla, Chipotle, and Microsoft, three large companies that are in different sections of the market, and they're going to be a huge weight on the overall market, and see how that goes. We also have airlines coming out this week a lot. We have Delta on Tuesday, then we have American Airlines and Love on Thursday. So thank you everyone for joining. I see a couple people on there. I see Jacob, thank you. Alan, how you doing? Howdy. Chris, Kurt, thank you very much. Shane, how you doing? Yo. Hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully the audio is sounding loud and clear again. I check 3 or 4 times before going live. If I can get a thumbs up or a something in the chat to let me know that everything sounds okay, the quality is okay, and we can just go ahead and get this ball rolling. What up, Fish? How you doing? Let's see here. Kurt Look 7 is a guide on how to play Nikola, question mark. Here we go. Never buy the stock. Every penny you want to put into it, okay. That's it. Thank you, Joseph. Sounds good. Thank you, Fish. All right, so let's go ahead and have some fun to get this out of the way. Should be able to see my charts here now, and we'll go ahead and get this boat to sailing. So, as we talked about, we're still in this purgatory box within the S&P 500 or the futures. Let's just go look at the S&P 500 to kind of simplify things. Again, this overall box that we're kind of projecting here really need a break above that 323 level to kind of see those higher prices there. It's kind of been, I won't say frustrating. It's just been, we've been pounding the top of the box trying to get out of here and really have the bulls come through and just really just ram right through it and kick the door in. But we're just kind of a little bit hesitant. This again could be looking at the overall data of the economy. You're still having a lot of folks who are just taking profits on some stocks that moved up. The work from home thing is kind of switching, or it could be just the virus, or I think a lot of things once we can get more information about some other studies besides Moderna company stuff. We can be looking at a potential cure or a working vaccine that can help combat the virus that we're currently, or the pandemic that we're currently dealing with. So that's basically on the bull case. On the bear case, I don't know if Mr. Bear's in here, but we've been hitting that ceiling a lot. That could, so if you start seeing the RSI and the volume oscillator coming down to this, we really need to see the 5 and 8 cross through the 21. Since the moving averages are very nicely stacked right now with the 5, 8, 21, 34, 50, and 200, I won't say anything can happen in the market without a doubt. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think you guys have a crystal ball. I don't think anyone has a crystal ball. But things can change on a dime, and they can change really fast. Something terrible can happen in the economy. Something tragic, like a terrorist attack, can happen. Who knows? They could just completely change on a dime, and the market can come crashing down for whatever reason. Again, we're talking about unlikely stuff, but we'll see on how that goes. With the 5 and 8 still being strong here, carrying the momentum, that 21 and 34 has come in multiple times for this support to kind of keep it up afloat. We're going to start seeing these break below the 21 and 34, really just breaking below the 312 on the S&P. We could be seeing some lower prices coming around the 50, and then the 50, which is around 307-ish, could come down to around the 300 level. Again, that's for the bear cases there. Again, anything can happen in the market. It's currently looking like we just want to kind of grind higher and potentially break out of this box here. So just be mindful of that. Keep your alerts out. Again, be prepped for everything. Understand certain levels. Don't panic when things are selling off and things like that. Don't try to look for the news behind why it's selling off. It could be for whatever reason. Just know those levels. All right, looks like a lot of people are joining in here. Thank you for everyone joining in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and we'll start looking at some tickers. That's all I really had on the summary for the S&P 500. Because if you really pan over to like the weekly side here as well, it looks really strong. It looks like we haven't really had that much of a pullback or consolidation. It's just like a slow grind. I think that we're just kind of used to these really drastic moves the last couple months, and now it's just coming into like, oh, this is just like normal market uptrend, and this is just slowly grinding. I think our mind hasn't really got into this complete set of like, oh wait, this is actually what a normal market does look like on trading somewhat sideways or going so forth. We have Shine and Myron Greens saying Tesla finally getting wrecked. Okay, we'll see what happens on Wednesday. We're gonna definitely have a live event for that one, especially with Tesla, Microsoft, and Chipotle both coming out the same day. With Tesla, it's really just kind of trading sideways now. It did again have those multiple gap ups. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now again it was around this. The stock was literally at $900-ish, and then went up to $1,700-$1,800. Yes, I think it got way too far ahead of itself. I don't know how earnings is going to be taking from this. It's again going to come down to how many Model Ys and how many the demand for those newer vehicles are. But okay, just a correction. Okay, yeah, I think a correction I can somewhat see. I can agree to that. We'll see on how that goes. Again, earnings is a complete coin flip. Elon Musk talks and his fanboys and girls can go crazy. So it can be totally, it's such a coin flip. Like, it's actually more than a coin flip. I don't even know what I can compare it to. It's like literally taking a piece of buttered toast, and you take one side is buttered, one side's not, and you throw it off the Empire State Buildings, and you just don't know what's going to happen. It's basically like flipping a coin, but it just sounded cooler flipping toast. Yeah, with Tesla, upside is basically limitless, because if you look at the options market for that expiring this week, we're talking plus or minus $240. That's insane. That's $240. That's a lot of money, up or down. So that's gonna be very volatile. And there's gonna be a lot of people, a lot of new millionaires, and there's gonna be a lot of new people losing a lot of money. So we'll have some fun with that. Steven, we have not cut Moderna, unless we can go ahead and do that real fast. We just talked about it a little bit because there's other companies, and I spelled that wrong, other companies coming out regarding of the overall vaccine and the treatment of the virus. Again, this thing has really just taken off, again, due to the hype of that. I really wish I had the fortitude to hold it. I didn't. I didn't see this honestly happening. Really blowing past here. You kind of see here we blow past. The next target really is 90.03, and then if that gets broken tomorrow with all the other vaccines and things that could be coming on the market, it's going to be like 112. Downside support's really going to come in initially first at 78, then down to like the 72 level. That's going to be where the 21 is, and also the 618 percentile move there, Stephen. Joseph, you are correct. Yeah, volatility is on its way. Better get your, get your spurs out and dig in. What up, Kelly D? JD is asking about NIO. We can take a look at those guys. So NIO kind of came back a little bit. You can see here it kind of came back to exactly the 21. Didn't close below it. Yes, the parabolic SAR has switched, but again, this is really going to be on the coattails of what Tesla comes out with. We're really going to see on how Tesla comes out on Wednesday afternoon after the close. And I think that, again, China is one of the largest markets for the EV markets right now. And I think that this is going to be kind of flip-flopping with whatever Tesla does. So we'll see how that goes. Again, support's really around the 21 here, potentially coming down to the 34. But just be very careful. Again, this is going to be very volatile. We did get a lot of oversold here previously, and now, overbought. Now we're coming back down to somewhere in the middle of the field. Volume did come in a lot on buying this dip here. We'll see how that plays out. So initially, first line of resistance around 1050, 1080. Next line will be around 850 there. Potentially upside to kind of break that parabolic SAR is way up there, so it's going to be a lot of momentum that needs to break that. Alan, thoughts on Abbott Labs? Thinking of building a position, playing on the fuel supply testing and having to believe the 3 of the best test. Okay, let's take a looky loo. ABT. Oh, if I could. Why does this never work? ABT. I think this wasn't this wasn't a super long squeeze. Finally fired long and looking like it really wants to test that new high. So what we can do here, wow, it hit the previous high was exactly at 100. That's really not very common to see that. So we're going to do previous swing high to the low, which that 200-day has held very well. Again, trying to break that $100 price target there. And next line of resistance, once you break 100, is going to be around the 103.74. Again, this is going to be on the coattails of, again, all the testing, all the different various things that workplaces, universities, schools going to have to be getting into. And I think this is going to be a very large section for some time. And I don't know they completely understand what Abbott Labs completely does there. So I think you will know more better on the fundamental and the story behind it. But the chart is looking very strong. We fired out this very long squeeze. RSI is not on overbought. Volume oscillator has quite a bit to go, so it's really trying to probably potentially break. If it can close and break above 100, we're looking for 103 to basically 104 to kind of break that. To the downside, the parabolic SAR where the 618 and the 21 kind of line up is going to be around support around 94.20, or I want to call it $94 to $95 to downside support there. Brian, what's up, man? Purple lines for life. So that one's that one, Alan. JD, we did SPY. SPY just really needs to break out above, for the bulls, we need to break out above 323. Steven, please cover space. We just did mRNA. Let's do space. So space is actually one that we have been holding and really wanting to see $25-ish plus and really breaking above that. That's going to be a really key level. That's from the previous swing high to low. That's a 50% retracement. That's a very key limit. We could be potentially seeing some selling there if we hit that level. That's a lot of energy that we've used up here on trying to get where we're currently at. I was I wouldn't say surprised, but I was happily surprised when it was breaking that $21, $22 level and really kind of gapped up with a lot of strength to break through that. And we'll see on how that continues tomorrow. Again, we're getting somewhat close to the top level of RSI. I don't pay too much attention to this on a daily side, more or less on a weekly side. If this starts hitting on the weekly side, hitting the top band of RSI, that's a little bit concerning. We're nowhere near that here on the weekly side for space. Volume oscillator is looking super strong as well, alongside with the squeeze that we're still sitting in place. Could be fizzling out. We still need to see some more volume coming in to really push this much higher. To the downside support, it's really going to come into like the 21, so around $18, potentially even down to 17. I don't know Alex, what's Whirlpool's ticker symbol? I'm not familiar with it. Sebastian, what's up, man? Can you do at shop? Oh yes, we can look at shop. So shop, again, this is basically what covers into the overall transition that we've seen in the last week or so. Basically, it happened the start of last Monday, probably around like 2:30, 3 o'clock. We had a lot of selling, consolidation, and people moving out of the work from home environments to the stay-at-home stocks to the overall pandemic stocks and kind of switching out of it. And that's what we kind of saw that on Monday with a huge gap down. 21 was holding pretty strong, but then it continued not have the strength and the momentum to kind of break above the 5 and 8 here. Again, with the parabolic SAR switched, that's kind of giving some more downside pressure to it. Looking for the potential of holding the 21, but potentially coming down to the 34, so around 884. We're seeing that the squeeze is losing momentum, volume's coming down, RSI is coming back into normal, aka like the 50-point range, and volume oscillator is kind of just bouncing around a little bit positive. As this starts going negative, we could see some further downside. We'll see on how this opens up Monday. I'm normally not a heavy trader on Monday because I kind of want to feel on how the rest of the week goes. But this one, on the weekly side, I think it did okay. I thought it hit the overbought here. It barely did, and it kind of has this happened before where we kind of did sell off pretty strong. But we do have earnings on the horizon, which is so the end of the month. That could be a huge upside surprise. This one, it's going to be hard for me to trade or even buy into this one. This thing has just been rocketed up. Potentially, it can kind of just hold between the 21 and 34, potentially get that momentum, get that build up with the TTM squeeze and RSI to kind of continue going higher. So we'll see how that turns out there. And NVIDIA thoughts? Yeah, we can cover NVIDIA. So NVIDIA we bought on the dip here, basically around 400. Kind of just traded around that range for most of the week. Really didn't make much of a recovery. The parabolic SR is kind of going against it. It didn't really break the overall trend. It's just kind of just trading sideways, trading water. Again, that 5 and 8 really kind of came in for support. Never really broke through the 21. If it starts breaking below the 21, which is around 392, we're currently standing at 393 if you want to be politically correct. That could be some more downside pressure if it starts breaking above that. Again, it's really just, if you just kind of zoom out a little bit on the daily side, it's really just been slowly grinding up here. We're nowhere overbought here on RSI and the volume oscillator. I think we're just kind of taking a quick little break here and potentially another push higher to all-time highs for NVIDIA. But downside support is going to really come around 21, and then if the 21 doesn't hold, that 34 is going to come in around basically like the 380, 378 to 380 there. Steven, you're welcome for that. Amazon next, will it continue to drop, Leo? Oh shoot, my thing just updated here. Who was I just talking to? Was it was it Leo? Was it Amazon? Alrighty. Amazon, will it continue to drop? So we're on Amazon. We sold some puts on it. It's kind of, again, somewhat consolidating. We've seen this pattern before. We are looking for the 21 to kind of come in to give it some moral support, give it a hug, give it a high five, give it some water, maybe a Gatorade, maybe a power bar to consolidate here, take a break, and potentially get to push higher. We have this make-believe, which Brian knows, this enchanted purple line here, and we're looking for it to kind of hold that. We're just basically kind of projecting out where the 21 could be. This one is potentially looking to hold the 21 level, which was around 29.15, 29.12. Again, this thing bounces around quite a bit. We're talking about a $3,000 stock. I think that this is starting to kind of consolidate here on the 21. If that can't hold, we might get some further downside bleeding to around the 27.65 level. Again, we do have earnings on the horizon. We could see some volatile up and down seesaw or roller coaster movement. But with earnings on the horizon, things are kind of a large question mark, especially from last time where they blew out the lights, but then they spent a lot of CapEx stuff, and they really kind of scared some folks. Fish, DraftKings, if you can. Sports coming back. I played 43 call, 817, especially when was So DraftKings, did it wrong. Is it DKNG, right? So this is kind of one that's an emotional trade for me because we did an oopsies on it. We thought we got out of it. We didn't. And then the next day I was like, why am I down on DraftKings? I thought I got out of it. I didn't. And then proceeded to be in this lovely purgatory box. Then snapped lower. Then this really just got out of it once it started breaking this box down here and really just took it for a loss and really just didn't have a great day with it. Looking at it now, it's looking like it's trying to make a comeback, like you said, Fish, with a lot of things coming out. Not much earnings on the horizon. Looking with that 5 and 8 potentially crossing through the 21. The parabolic SAR is switched. We're seeing the momentum is switched. RSI. We just need the volume oscillator to potentially continue going higher or getting in the positive frame. But it has a lot of baggage it needs to really break through. We can kind of look at a very quick Fibonacci retracement here from the previous swing high to low. We did break above that 50% retracement, but we kind of failed. We didn't close above it. So we need to really close a break above 36.17 to continue going higher to 38 and then 41 and then back up to the previous high. So that is hopefully somewhat fantastic information for you there, my friend. Sebastian, CVY. What is it? CVX, sorry. I was thinking of CVS. Chevron, okay. So Chevron's kind of been in this penalty box, doing a lot of sports analysis because sports are coming back. It kind of fell above that 200 day here, and now it's kind of just trading in like below the 21. Really needs to kind of come out and above here. The parabolic SAR has switched to the bottom, which is kind of giving it a floor around $83 to the downside support. But with earnings on the horizon, this would be a little bit difficult for me to trade. RSI and volume oscillator are not really saying anything. We're getting still a lot of negativity and a lot of overhang stuff here. This one could be interesting into earnings, but for this one, it really needs to close above $88, $90, really $91, $92, and potentially start getting above 98 there. Alan, thank you for the $5. Thank you. And can I buy an out of the money call on the day you're selling merch that says finger flipping toss? That's funny. Flipping toast. That's what we do. You know, buying out of those money options is flipping toast, yeah. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for the support, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Watch PayPal earnings, lots of options actions. PayPal is, again, it's going to be one of those stocks that have just been really crushing it and just doing really well. You kind of see here, it is considered a stay-at-home bank. It's really hard to categorize this. I really think this is like a new technology in the finance business. Really coming down to that 21, holding it. That 34 came in beautifully to hold it, and looking for potential further upside here. I think that's a really good call. Again, really putting your stops in around 167 to 166, but we're needing a lot of momentum to kind of break out of this little rut here. Again, we do like these building of the bases here and kind of building a fort, building a base, building a strong line to kind of jump off and continue going higher. That being said, really looking for that upside support coming in, or upside ceiling of resistance around 180, where the parabolic SAR have dropped. We're looking again on earnings coming out at the end of the month, so be mindful of that. Tesla earnings, again, that's going to be a complete coin flip. Thoughts on Whirlpool? Did you post that, Alex? Oh, WHR. Okay. You really love Whirlpool. Did you just buy a Whirlpool or something? So this is basically, I don't know the complete story behind this one, but I think they're the ones that are trying to get very heavily out of China and I think move to like India, or a lot of do their production outside of China basically. This one, didn't click to the top here. There we go. So the previous high to low, this thing has been performing extremely well, being in like the retail, or basically, I think I would rather categorize it like a lot of people just staying at home and having the ability to upgrade things and do things for their house. You can kind of see it was trading between that 618, which is basically where the 200 exponential moving average came in, kind of bounced around that, built that really strong base, had a very short squeeze that really pushed it higher to break above that 142-ish level, which is the 78.6 percentile move. Looking really strong there with earnings coming out. Looks at the 22nd, right? So that'd be like what, Tuesday? Oh, 22nd would be also Wednesday. So this looks pretty strong. The only thing is with the coin flip of that, the earnings on that could be very, again, volatile. It's going to be highly levered to China. And again, I'm not a big fan of trading earnings without a doubt, especially calls or anything like that. So be very careful with that one, Alex. Potentially, what are the earnings saying for this week? They're saying basically $10. $10 move, so we're looking at, was it 142? So potentially we won't be able to get to the previous high, but again, if they had a blowout of the water kind of thing, this could go really skyrocket. Downside support's really going to come in around the 127 to the 125 level to the downside support. First line. Brian, Mickey D's, you want McDonald's? Let's do McDonald's. So this one's been like a steady Eddie kind of thing. Basically, kind of trading around that 200-day exponential moving average, kind of breaking above it, just kind of hanging out, just not giving a rat's you know what. With the 5 and 8, 21, kind of not somewhat nicely stacked, but it's still kind of really tightly wound. We do have the squeeze that fired, kind of breaking it, helping it break above the 200-day. But again, we're talking about burgers and fries here. We're not talking about 3D graphics cards and automated driving here. We're just talking about getting your little salted fries and your McFlurry on here, which they always have. The machine always broken down for some reason whenever I hear people go through to try to get a milkshake. But with this one, again, earnings on the horizon. This is really going to be on as well with Chipotle as well. Again, fast food kind of thing. I want to do a fib here to kind of see where we're sitting. We're probably well over the 618, probably potentially the 78.6 looks like it. Okay, so we're above that 618, which is great. Again, now we're just kind of trading in this little box here. We really need a break above the 199, let's just call it 200, to really get this stock moving again, and get that momentum going. Again, downside support's really going to come in where the parabolic SAR is, where the previous kind of low is around 183 there. Ryan, we can do some Microsoft as well. Oh, if I can type it. So Microsoft was one of those guys that kind of got really beaten up and someone took their lunch this last week because it really is just kind of coming to the 21. It's holding that 1272 extension from the previous swing high to low. Again, looking for this kind of hold. Again, this is also coming out the same day as Tesla and Chipotle. So be mindful of that on Wednesday after the bell. This one, I'm bullish on this, but anything can happen in the market. Just be mindful of that. I'm not buying the 200 or the 215 calls going to earnings because that's not my trading style. But it needs to, if it wants to continue going higher, it really needs to kind of break above here. It kind of was really beaten up, like I said. Someone took its lunch and it just got stuck eating that peanut butter and jelly sandwich that the lunch lady made for him. With that being said, to the downside support, we have not really seen it touch much, but it did hit the 34 a couple times in the past year. I don't know why this is so low here. We're going to put that right there, actually. We've kind of seen that hit there in the past year a couple times. Nothing too crazy. Didn't break really close above it. We haven't seen the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 as well, so that is also a good sign for these ongoing momentum. This is just kind of a slight consolidation period, potentially kind of building a base here to a run into earnings, and then whatever happens after earnings was whatever happens. So we'll see. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that one, Ryan. Yeah, brethren, sheets, same thing. Spaces long-term hold. Myron BIBIO. Yeah, I don't know this one, my friend. This is basically was a penny stock a couple months ago, and now it's just off to the races. This looks like very much like a FOMO trade. Can't really much to add there, my friend. Sorry. Jeff Baba, yeah, Baba. So this is actually one that we saw that large amount of options going out in September, I believe. It was September or October, one of those months, that we did a video on, really highlighting a lot of folks buying some really longer dated calls in this. So it really kind of got my attention with Baba. And this one, kind of like the other stocks we just looked at, kind of got beaten up. Didn't really, again, nothing crazy happened here. The 5 and 8 didn't cross to the 21. The ticks didn't close below 21. It just kind of got a little beaten up. Maybe got some people that had some weak hands. We got some large hedge funds probably getting in there, buying some of those calls up or whatever. But this still looks fairly strong. No earnings on the horizon. But again, that 21 and that parabolic SCR is going to be downside support. This is, call it, at like 3 or 240-ish level to the downside for support. Again, we're kind of looking at some kind of just trading sideways action to kind of see how certain earnings come out, and then we'll see potentially a pop or a drop. No squeeze, RSI and volume are just flat. Nothing really signaling either way. This could just be trading sideways for a little bit. Get a drink some water. Netflix for Curtis. So Netflix, as you have, hopefully everyone didn't buy long calls on this and got slaughtered like some folks that I know. That 21 really came in for support. You did have that switch on the parabolic SAR, the parabolic SAR with the RSI going down, same with the volume oscillator. But this trend is still somewhat intact. If we can hold this 21 level and just potentially build a base here, and then can kind of start continuing higher. But you start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, the ticks close below the 21, we could be seeing this trend change and maybe further consolidation, maybe some downside pressure coming from that. Brian, Snap. Yeah, we can do Snap. So Snap is actually one that we have kind of on our radar that could potentially really outperform and potentially get well above $26 to $27 this week. It also does have earnings, I think, on after Tuesday's close. So this is going to be a very strong moving stock. It has been holding the 21, which is that the wonderful yellow line here for some time. Even though it was sold off beginning of the week, it's really been holding fairly strong. That parabolic SAR has come in for support with the 21. Potentially first line downside support is really going to come in around 2280-ish to basically the 2250 level to downside support. But upside support or the ceiling or resistance would be around 2681, potentially 27 there. And we're looking at for more of a trade to the higher side. We're more bullish on this. Yeah, vaccine gold rush is 100% in here for sure. You have Intel, Texas Instruments, and Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's going to be an interesting one. They're going to be talking, a lot of those analysts are going to ask a lot of questions about that hack. Thoughts on AMD? With no problem, my friend. We can look at AMD. So AMD, we've always been talking about these purgatories. We've always been talking about these imaginary boxes. And AMD is a prime example of these wonderful, I'm just kidding, honestly, these soul-sucking boxes. It's just been trading sideways forever. And it's just been doing this. Like it blows my mind. It's literally just trading sideways and sideways and sideways. And again, it's been trading between like that 58 down to 50, and just really riding it out. Why didn't I sell more iron condors on this? I don't know. We finally got into it about a month ago trading iron condors, and it's been great. And we're going to continue to do it. We do have Intel reporting at the end of the week, I believe, on Thursday. So we'll see how that one kind of helps the move in this. But this one is it's really just trying to continue to break higher. We had multiple attempts of the ticks trying to get above that $58 level and close above it, but we really haven't had the world's greatest luck in the overall sense of the trading gods or the stock market gods to give us the ability to break above that. If you're going to be more of a bear on this, you really need to see the trend or this consolidation really break and then get below 50 and then potentially hit around that $46 level to the 200-day there. CPR, BA, big moves coming, question mark. We'll look. So BA is one position we have as well, but we sold puts on this, so it's a little bit longer, like I think it's a month out or something like that. But we talked about this before. It's been holding this imaginary enchanted line here. Talked about this. We changed the color multiple times to kind of better enchant it and give it more of a feng shui look to it to kind of make the BA gods happy here. We do have that really long squeeze setting up here, trying to fire higher, but we're getting some really strange consolidation here. We really needed to see the volume oscillator and RSA start peaking in the next couple days. Again, earnings on the horizon, complete question mark. We don't know what's going to happen there. With earnings, again, they really need to start seeing a larger movement of the economy, and a lot of those airlines this coming week with like United, American Airlines, and then Love reporting this week, which is going to be a pretty large particular moves for BA. Thoughts on ERIC? Wow, okay, they had a nice jump on earnings. Yeah, that looks super powerful. That could easily continue. Is this like an energy company? This looks like an energy company, the way the stock trades. You're hitting an all-time high on the weekly side. This, if you're in it, you're pretty. If you're long, you're happy. But again, with consolidation of a lot of potential people could be selling here because it looks like it's hitting an all-time high. Could potentially see some selling and potentially come down a little bit to potentially trade sideways into next earning announcement or potentially another move that could be coming on the horizon. Oh shoot, I think just updated again. ABBV is ready to break out. I think so too. I think it was right above a hundy. Yeah. So this is kind of one we're looking at here. It's in a squeeze. We have earnings on the horizon, which is, take it with a grain of salt. Be careful with that. But the volume oscillator has been doing well. Potentially looking for targets around 107 here for the initial first upside of resistance, or the ceiling of resistance as we call it. But to the downside, the 21 has come in strong, so basically around 98 to 97 to the 21 to the downside. But it's been performing super well here, just slowly just grinding higher here. I think that you have a pretty good call there, my friend. And Chang, TSM, oh, don't talk to me about that one. This is the one we missed. Again, we missed a lot, but it's a good learning experience. I think we traded this way back here, kind of consolidating here. Had a huge run up, consolidated some more, and now it's a huge run up, and we could see some more consolidation. With a lot of these semiconductor stocks, the news cycle and everything is basically in motion, with just going full steam ahead and just potentially be pumping these puppies out and really upgrading many different devices and allowing newer devices that we couldn't even think about connecting and doing whatsoever with robotics and things like that. I think this is going to be a huge movement here. It's hard to buy this out as of right now, hitting an all-time high just the close of last Friday. We'll see what happens. Again, RSI is pretty highly elevated. Volume zone oscillators very high as well. The momentum has been fairly hot here as well. Potentially could just be trading sideways here once this momentum starts slowing it down here. Again, trading sideways doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down. It just kind of needs to wait for these moving averages to kind of catch up, especially the 21 and 34 are quite a ways distance away. We kind of need to see this trade sideways for a little bit to kind of get those moving averages back up and running there. Alex, we did a thought on Whirlpool already, and Bob already, yep. Vincent, where will these end at the week? MRN, NIO, MCD. So we did Skyworks on the video. NIO, I think it's going to hold at 21, and it's going to really come into wherever Tesla starts. McDonald's, we're looking to kind of hold above the 200-day, so it's moving average. Modernum's, again, huge news coming out Monday with a lot of things like that. Curtis, we already did Netflix. Tesla earnings, what is a long-term purchase price? What's my long-term purchase price? This is like, I think cost is probably around like 275, 300, I believe. If that's what your question was. F at TNT. So this is the security for, yeah, okay. So this is kind of one that kind of fell out of favor due to the switch from the stay-at-home economy, the rotation out of these stocks. We kind of saw that this really just trading sideways for a couple weeks, and now kind of start breaking below that lower part of the purgatory box here, and now we're seeing that 5 and 8 cross through the 21, more selling. Potentially could see a bottom here around 125. But with a potential, if the overall market continues to sell off or however it's taken, it could be seeing some further downside again. With those parabolic SERs still above us, we really need to be patient on this one. Again, with earnings on the horizon, last earnings was a complete blowout, so this could be a complete coin flip. So we could just be trading sideways into earnings on this one. NIO, we did NIO, so NIO, basically I can cover it one more time. Basically that 21 is really coming in for the support. So if you believe in this trend, that 21 is really going to kind of help you potentially consolidate here. If that doesn't consolidate and the 5 and 8 want to continue to run through you, and like a freight train, that 5 and 8 will cross through the 21 drastically, and that 34 EMA will come in around $8.64 for support there. Again, be very mindful again. This thing does move with Tesla earnings on Wednesday. That could be a large mover there as well on that day. Dyslexic, what are your thoughts on FB losing ad partners? I think they could see a drop coming. I think so. So we traded Facebook on that drop. We took a little heat for it, but we ended up making a great trade here. I think bought it around the 50-day simple moving average. Bled more the following day, but then had a huge run back. Now it's filling at the 1272 extension from the previous swing high to low. It really needs to break above that if it wants to continue going higher. I think it could just consolidate here, holding that 2134 pattern here. But if it starts breaking above the 248 level, we could see some higher prices to potentially 278 with earnings on the horizon as well. I believe it's at the end of the month. Yep, the 28th. So we're looking at basically plus or minus $20-ish. Let's call it $22 from here. So it could be easily testing like the 264, 262 potentially to the upside. So we're looking basically around this area range up here. To the downside, we can basically come back down to the 100% move that we previously seen. Yeah, I've heard that PayPal's there are a lot of stores running out of things. Everyone needs a second fridge to stay at home and cooking. Kelly D, Got to get that nice cooling fridge in the garage, right? JD, last time Facebook launched ads, it went up a lot. I think Facebook is going to be, so that's the reason when we talked about Snap. Snap could be a winner in this picture of Twitter failing and Facebook failing. They could be getting a lot of ad revenue from social media stuff. John KGC. I don't know this company. I'm not familiar with this company, but it looks like it has gold in it, so I'm guessing it's some kind of gold miner. So we're going to do a previous swing high to low if it hits the 127. So potentially, if this up roar can continue, we're looking for around $8 there, my friend. To the downside, it's going to be the 21, which falls in exactly with the 78.6 percentile move at 725. With earnings on the horizon, could be a steep question mark, but that's about 2 weeks away. Nothing really much to add there because I really don't know it very well. Curtis, we did Netflix already. We kind of want to hold that 21 EMA and see how it goes. LMT. What's LMT? Is that Lockheed Martin? Yeah, so this is one that's reporting on Tuesday, I believe. So the previous swing high to low here, showing some consolidation around that 618 here, basically where the 200-day kind of comes into. So this is going to be a pretty heavy overhead resistance for it to break through. We've seen a breakthrough before, but then failing here at the 78.6 percentile range, so around 404. So if this is a great earnings quarter, we could see a potential pop breaking through that movement here and potentially guiding us to 404 level. To the downside, support's really going to come initially at the first one at 354, then it's going to come basically at 342, 333 there. So be careful in there. Mr. Bear, thank you for joining, my friend. Walmart and Costco for short. Of course, I wouldn't expect anything else from Mr. Bear. Walmart for short. It looks like this wants to trade sideways. I wouldn't want to short this until the 5 and 8 starts crisscrossing through the 21. Since the parabolic SAR is still really printing underneath it, we had a huge movement up, and then now seeing some tight consolidation basically at all-time highs. No earnings on the horizon, so potentially downside support where the 21 is, basically where the 618 can come into around 127 potentially if it does start coming off and selling off hard. But as of right now, this week, the past 1.5 weeks has been pretty strong. And Costco, Mr. Bear, I'm a huge Costco guy. I cannot. This looks so much similar to Walmart as the way the movement kind of came up. Let's look at the fib here real fast. Previous high to low. Bet just going to be hugging something. Okay. It's really hugging that 100% tile move. With Costco, we need to kind of see that same pattern here with the 5 and 8 really start breaking here. And then start crossing through the 21 and start breaking below that 78.6 percentile move, which is around 314, 315, and we start seeing it start printing lower below that. So be careful out there on that one. Johnny Bravo, oops, you're late again. Hey, you made it though. I love the side comments where we're not talking 3D cards, but autopilot, yeah. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Thank you for this educational breakdown. I always learn something from your live streams. You're welcome, Joseph. I also want you to thank you about the gold. What do I think about gold mining stocks? I don't know much about gold mining stocks, and I don't follow them, so I don't really have a really in-depth view on it. If you can give me a chart, I can kind of give you a better breakdown there, John. Roku's on your watch. Let's take a look at Roku. I haven't looked at that sucker in a while. Okay, so we had a it came a lot of consolidation here around the 200-day here. Broke out here well above that 130 level. Now it's really potentially consolidating around 150. If we can see that 150 consolidate some more, that 150, 151 price target, that's that 78.6 percentile move to potentially see it kind of ratchet up to the 176 level. Again, I'm not 200% familiar with on how they do business and things like that and how they're doing. Again, like Netflix, everyone thought that it's going to go to the moon because everyone's at home watching more Netflix, but that's where really the potential growth formula comes in. It wasn't as strong as some people thought, and whatever reason, it just sold off. With this one, again, earnings is still a question mark towards the August. Potentially could be trading here sideways, and then we'll see if the RSI and volume oscillator can continue staying positive, and RSI could stay above 65 to 70. We could really see this climb higher to 176. If we start seeing the moving averages fail, kind of stalling out, and RSI and the volume zone oscillator momentum going down with not much volume coming in, we could easily come back down to 130 there. Let's see here. We did NIO. Let's see here. Okay, now the chat's really popping here now, boys. All right, and girls. Let's see. We did shop. Did we did shop? Okay. Oh my gosh, my thing just updated again. Oh, dollar bill. Dollar bill with $5 bills. Thank you, my friend. Can you do AZN? Without a doubt. AZN, and I'm not quite sure what this company does. Is this the other pharmaceutical company? Looks like it. I had a huge pop up here. I think they have pretty large announcements coming Monday or Tuesday. Am I right, dollar bill? Or can I just call you Buck? This one, I think it was a lot of speculation going on this one, I believe, if I remember right. Let's see where this is lower here. So we're kind of hitting that 61618 here. Basically, potentially they're on the 6175 level to the upside. With this one, it's going to be super difficult to calculate where it could go. Just the fact that we could see, again, we're waiting on data that we have no knowledge about. Like, I have no knowledge about anything with the virus and how vaccines work. I just hope someone can find it and everyone can be happy again. Happy, to lack of better words, can just at least kiss each other and hug each other. That being said, this thing is really hitting some really key levels. You saw that 100% tile move here really was consolidating here a little bit. Then again, with that speculation of really ratcheting up here, I hope that people don't get burnt on this. I hope that this movement can continue with this. We can see here on the weekly side, basically hitting an all-time high here on the weekly side. But this thing has been trading fairly well between the 5 and 8. But again, I think, don't know fundamentally, it's been in that super long squeeze like AbbVie and other companies have been. And they're finally now just being able to separate from that really long consolidation base here. So that's a really good sign here that we're seeing this movement going higher, seeing a lot of volume coming in here, which is also a really strong sign, potentially to see if this can hold going into Monday. But again, hopefully you completely understand that this is a really speculative play. You're basically just wagering that they have the better vaccine or they have the answer for the virus. So hopefully this was helpful for your dollar bill. We are seeing, again, the weekly side. I normally just look at the RSI on the weekly side. It's not oversold yet, but the momentum and everything else is pretty skyrocketed. The Chaikin money flow is actually much more elevated than I thought. I think a lot of people are, again, it's going to be a complete spec play. My dad's rubber broke. Oh my god, what in the world, dude? You want W? We'll look at W. Just on that name. Wayfair had that alleged scandal, trafficking thing. Who knows what happens there. It's just been holding that 21. It really just holding that 21. I think that people are discussing and finding out that it's just they're not going to go to furniture stores to buy furniture. They're just going to do it from Amazon, Wayfair, or just strictly online. It's just becoming too simple to ignore. Again, really holding that 21 here, which is around 210 right now. With earnings in the horizon, I really wouldn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. But if you want to be a bear on this, you need to see that 5 and 8 cross through the 21 and really break that parabolic SAR. We need to really close below that 21 if you want to be shorting this. All right, yeah. Robert, sorry. SIVTEX says pen, please. Yeah, we look at pen. Has anyone seen the guy who does Barstool Sports as pizza reviews? they're lovely. I don't know the guy, Dave. The guy who did a video on Dave Portnoy, I think his name is. He does like pizza reviews. It's actually quite funny. So the previous swing high to low, we're hitting again that 100 percentile move around $40. Really just hitting that pressure here. Kind of failed that, hit to the 21, traded sideways, still hurting around the 21. Really coming in strong around the $31 level. That's where the 78.6 percentile move is coming in, potentially building this really long base here. We did have a squeeze in place here. It did fire, didn't carry as much as you thought it would, but looking for that potential first tire overhead resistance around 39 to the upside. And downside support's really going to come in basically where the 50-day is, so around $30 to the downside. So be careful with that one. I think Penn Gaming is a casino, but they also bought Barstool Sports and other things. So I think once the economy starts opening back up, we'll see how that goes. Robert Mueller. Snap. We did Snapper again, but we'll talk about it again because it's actually one that I'm looking at for a trade. This one's been holding the 21 very well. Has not broken the parabolic SAR. I think I like the story more than the stock right now due to the fact that Twitter's in kind of a shitstorm, and then you have Facebook that's kind of in a shitstorm as well, with just getting the spotlight on them again for negative reasons. And I think a lot of advertisers is like, where am I going to go? Google. Of course, we're already at Google. Now we're going to go to Snapchat. Oh, that should be positive data because they pushed to phase 2 and 3. I think that's probably what made the stock move so much, because you normally don't move to phase 2 or 3 unless the phase 1 is good, right? That makes common sense. Orlando Garcia, Moderna put soon. I don't know. So again, I think there's a lot of folks are asking about the virus stocks. They're completely the charts are just so drastic that it's going to be very difficult to find a trend. There's so much of an outlier when those stocks move. It could be a complete crazy mess. Because it's just complete emotions and potential speculation. Or not potential, it is speculation. You're welcome, Dollar Bill, for the feedback. Dollar Bill, don't touch J&J or Lilly. Those are great longer-term companies as well. DMC 8282, great name. Jay Taylor, Fastly. We can look at that one. Take some water here. Oh, I always spelled that one wrong. My bad. So this one's really just consolidating on that 21 here. It looks nasty. It's been a huge sell-off. A lot of weak hands getting out of this one without a doubt here. But that 21 is still intact. But we start seeing that 5 and 8 cross through the 21 here, my friend. That could be potential further downside to around $69 level. With that parabolic SR still pushing it down. Volume zone oscillators going into negative territory, which it can for a little bit, but if it starts going to like negative 39 or 40, we could see really further downside to, again, that $34 EMA, which is around the $69-70 level. If it doesn't really build a really strong base here to continue trying to push higher. We do have earnings on the horizon as well, which is first week of August. Again, this has been a super strong stock, again, stay-at-home stock for the pandemic, the virus, whatever, to give that extra hand here. But it's kind of, that 21 has not really been touched all the way up. Now we're really kind of seeing that here. The RSI did kind of get hit multiple times on the daily side and on the weekly side, because this is a newer stock too, so the data is not the greatest on this one since it's a fairly new stock. Shane, TLT, yeah, we can look at TLT. So TLT had its move way again with the virus. Now it's just kind of trading sideways, like nothing. It really needs to break above that. Oh, excuse me, I was sneezing the mic. The 168 level. We've seen it kind of tap here multiple times, not really getting that momentum to break through it. It's still holding a fairly good trend here, but we start breaking it below that 165 to 164, we could be seeing some further potential downside. Again, that's really not going to be to come into unless the 5 days are crossing through the 21 as well. That's going to be pretty large tail there on seeing how that really plays out with the overall market. Yeah, Beyond Meat, yes, yeah, Clint, and who else has said that? Beyond Meat looks really nice, actually. So we own Beyond Meat for longer dated stock, straight stock, actually. This one was just been building a position in this. Again, thinking if it's going to be a newer trend. It has been getting slapped. It's been getting slapped pretty hard here, and it's not really performing as well as we thought initially. It did very well initially. Now it's kind of sold off again. Kind of some not restructuring of the company, but restructuring of the stock price here. Really potentially building a base here. We want to see that 5 and 8 start trading more sideways rather than down, and kind of start building a base here. Seeing the momentum from red to go to yellow, and then see the RSI and volume oscillator to continue going higher. But we are willing to buy more of it, even if it gets down to the 114 to 112 level. For again, this is a longer term hold, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm a retired FDA agent. Don't waste your time on virus stocks. Okay, well, you heard it here from DMC8282. Johnny Bravo. CEQP. That sounds like a penny stock, Johnny. No, it's not. Okay. I don't know what this company does, because that's just too much shit in their name here, but it's not looking too hot. It looks like it wants to kind of break out here and go higher, but even before the pandemic, it hasn't been trading well. It was well below the 200-day here. We're seeing that momentum switch here with the parabolic SERs go from the top to the bottom. Some volume coming in, but we got that earnings on the horizon. That 34 really just gave it a little haircut here. Really need to see a break above that 1430 level. Let's do a little fib here to kind of give you a little more of a breakdown. Let's go do this here. I don't think this is going to get anywhere near where we need to go. Yeah. So the 50% retracement is really going to come in around $21 to really see that, to actually really even get me sauced up about this stock. This is like a retail company. What is this? I need to. I have nothing really to add to this. This one is not a shabby one. If you want to trade it, we can look at something here. Like I want to put my daughter's college fund into this. So it's kind of, so it really needs to break above 1470 here. That's the 50% retracement from the previous little short-term high. And then really get above 1572 and really consolidate and then potentially build higher. Yeah, dollar bill, biotech is going to be super hot tomorrow. Super hot. And not the video game. Joseph, I had a Beyond Meat burger this weekend and it was amazing, way better than. Joseph, I recommend, if you like that, try their brats, their sausages. They're really good on the grill. Can you check PLL for long? Ooh, what is this thing, dude? This is consolidating here. What in the world? What is this? I don't even know what to say. This is a purgatory stock if I've ever seen it. There's no growth here, man. This is not good. I got nothing to add on this one. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't even know what that stock comes from. I have nothing to add there. Someone asked, what did you... Oh, Alan S., thank you for the $5. Earnings play for the 23rd. Tractor Supply Company, stay-at-home play. They cater to people that like to play in the dirt. Small, went to be farmer. Oh. I think I've heard of them before. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's a great looking stock there, Alan. Gosh. Yeah, this looks like a Lowe's or Home Depot. That looks really good. Whew. That's a nice one. So for Alan, for what I do, I will not buy calls into this, so I would have to sell puts. And it's the 23rd, so what is that, Thursday? Yeah, I have a little bit of time. I would be potentially selling, again, I'm more conservative, I would be selling like the 21, what are they saying for the movement? They're saying plus or minus $10, and it's trading at 143. Yeah, I would be selling like the 130, 135 puts. That's what I would do. But again, that's my conservative looking at here. But this stock looks pretty spectacular. So I'm actually going to put that in the war chest there. Thank you, Alan. Are you still in Starbucks too, Alan? They're finally making somewhat of a comeback. They're really consolidating here on that 21. Still below it at 200-day, but we're seeing that really pretty strong squeeze coming in here. We are still, again, it's got a lot of overhead damage to it. When your stocks, the 200-day or 200 exponential moving average is above the stock, it's a lot of downside pressure here, and it really needs to perform going forth. Again, with Chipotle coming out, McDonald's and other companies, we'll see on how Starbucks does, but they really had to change the way they do business without a doubt, and how they basically cater to the community. But if you're long term in it, I can see that it's really still consolidating here. We do have a squeeze here. We have the shake and money flow, which is nice to see, where some larger investors are finally getting into it, maybe buying the dip, basically on downward supports around 72. If you're long-term investing in here, basically, 72 basically on this daily chart as well. Really need to start seeing that break above that 76 and try to get above that $78 level potentially. So with earnings, what was it again? The earnings for this was the 28th, so it's kind of far off, so that could be pretty large plus and minus there. Someone asked what I was doing for Snap as well. So for my Snap plays, basically, I might be a little bit cute for it because again, it's a smaller, cheaper stock than $150, $200, even a $3,000 stock. But potentially, I wouldn't. Again, I can't buy calls in stocks going to earnings because it's your between the IV and then the overall or the probability with the IV crush coming in after earnings. It's just too drastic, and I like to make money than lose money. That 21's looking super strong here. If I was being super kind of aggressive, I would be selling stronger at the money puts. That's what I would do for Snap. Oh, it's a lithium mining company. Okay. West Coast Gamer PDSB. So this one it was doing okay, but again, it was well below 200-day. Kind of consolidated here, broke above that 200-day. Looks really nice. Like again, if it can stay above that $2-ish level, but again, this falls into the category of like a penny a stock for me. Sorry there, West Coast Gamer, but there's not really much I can add to this. I know it literally traded down to 62 cents, so that's where I'm just like, I understand that it was a $6-7 stock, but it actually traded down in the penny section that was heavily traded down there for quite some time. Now it's making a comeback, and we'll see how that goes there. Mark AXON. Oh, if I can do that. AXON. Is AXON Axon? Yes, sorry. That is, I have the ticker here. Where am I? I'm looking probably right at it. Yeah, AA. It's AA. Okay. So this one is kind of one that we shorted way back when the riots first started, but it didn't do. We've luckily got out of a very, very small profit, but because I thought that IV crush was really gonna come in and really consolidate. It's finally happening now. We've had that squeeze. It did fire short, looking for to kind of potentially break the $90 level, because that 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21. Parabolic, as they are switched. Volume zone oscillator and RSI continue going down. We could see some potential downside support to around 83 to the short side. So this is kind of strange. I normally don't short a lot of things, but I do sell calls at times. This one does look like it could potentially see a little bit further downside here. Yeah, Alan, that's a great find on Tractor Supply. That's definitely for sure. GPS. Is that Gap? So Gap, I think someone talked about this way back when. They signed Kanye West or whoever. We talked about it. It really needed to break above that 200-day exponential moving average. It still hasn't. Again, with the retail sector really being beaten up, and some numbers are coming out pretty strong. The overall grind here, it looks like it wants to break above it. Once it starts breaking above it and closing above it, I think that will reset the trend, and it could look potentially strong from going out from there. So being mindful again, if it starts breaking the $13.30, $13.50 level, we could see some further highs, but it has a lot of overhead resistance to kind of break above that. Alpaca stuff, PCG. I think we did that one last week. You told me that I think it was you or someone. They got cleared from bankruptcy, which is good. I'm happy for them. but it hasn't been performing that well. It's still well below 200-day. It hasn't broken above that 21. Momentum's trying to change. Volume zone oscillators really still negative. We really need to see that in the positive numbers. That would really correlate for a potential break above $10 to kind of see that going higher there. Unless California bursts down. Or an earthquake comes in California and puts it in, makes it an island. Thoughts on KNOS, a penny stock, and yeah, if it's a penny stock, I can't touch it. Sorry, my friend. DEMC8282, XYV, swing trade breaking out, and solid companies. Look at that one. I always like sectors. Healthcare, without a doubt. Yeah, healthcare is trying to break out with pharmacies. United Healthcare performing a great quarter. This one looks really strong here. Really breaking above that 105 level. On the weekly side, looks really strong as well. Yeah, be very mindful of this. If it's look at the previous high to low. Yeah, so it's looking for this potentially. Again, the cohort's not going to be moving super fast. Looking for potential targets around 113 would be the next line in the sand if this trend can continue going higher and really drive this market, and especially these companies and sectors, higher. What's so good with Tractor Supply? So Tractor Supply just has a really nice upward trend stock. That's why we like it. Shine Media. Yes, we looked at space already, so we really need to see it break above 25. Again, we are in long term as well in 2021 or 2022, $25 call options. So we really need to see it above that. We need to really keep it above $21 to $22 into earnings, and earnings needs to be good as well. What do you think about Jets? Wait. Who's Stephen Burns has been on the list? What were you? Maybe I'm missing something. What's the stock for Stephen? KN. Oh yeah, that's a penny stock without a doubt. And I sadly can't touch that. I have no idea what this is. Stephen Burns. Okay. Yeah, we can take a yeah. Let's see here. What do you think about Jets? That's from Vince. So Jets is basically an ETF for all the Jet stocks. So they're kind of basically all on the same plane. We do have a one-day squeeze starting. A lot of people that are smarter than me on the fundamental and the accounting side are saying that they're going to need more funding, aka they're going to need more of a bailout from the U.S. taxpayers, aka you and I, to get some of their bases covered. Which, wherever you sit on the aisle, I don't care. I just think that yes, there are some really bad run companies, but we kind of need to give them somewhat of a slight help here, because it wasn't completely their fault, us shutting down airlines. Phoenix trader looking for Cisco long. Oops. Cisco Systems. So this one, talk about purgatory. It's been holding that 200-day forever. So we're on the $45 target. Really need to see these breaking out. We've seen squeeze in this before, but they haven't really gone anywhere. There hasn't been a lot of momentum behind these and really carried them higher. This is kind of a whoopsie daisies kind of stock where it's not really growth, and I wouldn't be able to hold it long term. I would rather be in like an AMD, Nvidia, or something like that. Phoenix. Yeah, we'll see West Coast Gamer how AMZ works out. Dollar bill. I'm not sure I understand the Stephen Burns question on to chart out what stock. We talk about that penny stock. Stephen, if you have the space call for 2021, you need to watch the chart. Yes, you do need to watch the chart because if it starts breaking, well, we had the alert out basically. If it was breaking below that 200-day for space, we purchased it again. We held it for quite some time, basically around this target here. It starts breaking below 15, 14. That options, we still paid hundreds of dollars for. I think we paid a little over $1,000 for like 2 options of these, and they literally were not doing next to nothing, actually costing us quite a bit. We could be seeing it just really held that 200-day, and just wanted to keep an eye on it. It wasn't like something I looked at it every day, but just kind of see if it can hold in around that 200-day. But once we start seeing it kind of guiding up, and we saw that squeeze fire, we said, "Oh yeah." Not like "oh yeah" like the Kool-Aid man, just like "oh yeah" like happiness. Corner Moss Lusk BIDU. Is that Baidu? So I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Chinese sectors, so I'm not really the most familiar with these as well. And I always forget on which one's which and what they do. But the chart looks okay. We're above the 200-day, but with a 5 and 8 potentially getting close to 21. Potentially, if we cannot hold this pattern around the 120 level, we could be seeing some lower prices kind of coming down to the 200-day, which is around 118, 117 to the downside support. There's no squeeze or anything really positive showing here with the parabolic SAR still above here. Let's see on a quick fib for you here. Yeah, it looks like that 618 starts breaking around 122. That 200-day is really going to have to come in for downside support. Overhead pressure is around 133 there. Jason TXN. Texas Instruments. So this is kind of I don't. That sounds terrible, Jason. I don't even know what Texas Instruments does anymore, and how they're basically connected to the world. It's really kind of been failing here at the 135, 136 level multiple times. We'll see with this squeeze and earnings can potentially kick it higher. Downside support is going to be basically coming around 128 to 127. Not sure when earnings is going to come out. $10. So $10 at 133. So it could be potentially going down to the parabolic SAR, so around 125 for downside support. Upside support, we need to really get that momentum above 135 there. Some water. Ken breaks penny stocks, lovers, hearts. Your favorite ex-girlfriend. Johnny. Have you looked at FLIR? I'm not familiar. This looks very familiar. I've heard this one before. It looks. I don't think I've traded this. We'll see here. So between the swing high and the swing low, that 618 percentile move, which basically lines up where the 200-day moving averages, exponential moving averages, it's really showing some overhead stress there, basically looking for some potential overhead resistance again. Looks like we have earnings in the beginning of August. It's trying to build a base here, trying to start printing higher. It's above the 21, which we like to see. The squeeze did fire, but then kind of came back down to the 21 day. I'm not a complete, I always forget what this company does. It sounds so familiar. But we need to really stay above the 21, and we need to see the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21 harder, and then continue driving upward to the right. So we'll see on how that goes from there. To the downside, support's really going to come around $40 to the downside support, but we'll see on here on the weekly side. Yeah, even the 200 days on the weekly side. So there's a lot of overhead pressure on $45. So be very mindful of that, my friend. That $45 limit, you're going to get potentially a lot of selling when you try to get up above there. The routers are a pain for Cisco. Yeah, I'm a sysadmin, and we have a pretty good. I think it's a Cisco, complete Cisco router. Maybe it's one company they bought. Ubuntu is a good company as well. Their stock has been gangbusters. WBA, thank you for all your help. Women's Basketball League, Basketball Association. Walgreens. Oh, Walgreens. Oh, they make police helicopter cameras. Okay. So that's kind of looking like similar pressure like Axon that we looked at, with Axon having the look at of potentially further some consolidation or even a little bit of downside. With poor Walgreens, which I love my Walgreens right by my house, super nice people, but it's just kind of I don't know how they make money. Like some of their stuff's so overpriced there in the aisles. Basically just really somewhat of a downward trend here, even with the pandemic not really making a good recovery here. Below the 200-day, not a good look. Trying to potentially build a base here. Earnings was not fantastic at all. Again, looking just to trade sideways. It's hard for me to buy into this, my friend. I'm sorry. There's not really a growth stock, so this one is kind of just peter-pattering around the $43 to $40 level. Potentially, if we start seeing some more positive stuff, potentially try to break above that 200-day there. Alan, I would buy another merch call that I don't do penny. Anyone mention Nikola? So yeah, we can look about Nikola. So we did a video on it once this weekend. So this poor stock and really I think sideswiped a lot of folks and just really came out of nowhere. We'll see on how that goes. With the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21, not a good look again. And then really breaking through the 34. The 50-day kind of came in for support. We thought the 50-day would come in and support even the close on Friday, but then the SEC announced their filing that they could have up to, I think, 57 million shares, potentially 57 million shares of common stock sold, and I forget exactly the number of warrants they could sell as well, to let those early stage investors get out. It's never a good thing because it's usually very volatile and creates a lot of negative animosity in the stock and can really hurt it for some time, and it will take a lot of long, many trading sessions to kind of recover from it and potentially get to new highs from that. But with Nikola, your opinions aside, this stock has just really ran up more than it should have, and it's now just kind of trading sideways, potentially getting down to the price targets where it should kind of lie, with a lot of overhead baggage and a lot of damage in it. So with Nikola, like, it's just not a good look. It's just not. There's just so many other better companies out there right now that have a product, aka Tesla's. I know Tesla's stock is well over $1,500, but there's other ways to be in the market. I understand if you're in the trucker business, and I think they have potentially a great truck without a doubt. By truck, I mean like the 18-wheeler, because they actually have that. They're developing it, and they haven't completely made multiple models of it on the road, but they have some working prototypes of it, so which is always a good sign. Let's see here. What do you think about WKHS Workhorse? We can look at that one as well while we're talking about Nikola. I don't think they're in the same boat of just being somewhat of a trash, but I think this was also a huge FOMO play here. Potentially looking for some support here around 1350, and then we'll have to see where it goes from there. I think this could continue trading sideways for a little bit, and we'll see how it goes, because I think potentially people are just kind of waiting to see what happens with Tesla, honestly. Thoughts on Twitter? So the Twitter had that huge issue, which still surprised me on why the stock's not down more, because literally someone got into Twitter's Slack channel, I believe, and then somehow someone posted the master key login stuff or the admin portal to log into anyone's account to bypass multi-factor authentication, everything. But anyways, it's really having a lot of overhead resistance around the $35 target, $36 really. So that's the 618 percentile move from the previous high to low, with earnings on the horizon as well on the 23rd, which is Thursday. We're looking for a move about 450-ish, $5. That could put you up to the 78.6 percentile move. We'll see how that plays out, again, due to, I think, a lot of the reporters and analysts are really going to press about that hack, and how they're going to fix that and kind of move from that. HC, thoughts on Match? Is that the tender thing? I don't know how people are able to the tender here. High short interest. Again, high short interest usually means two different things depending on how you trade it. It could mean there's a lot of conviction of it being to the short side, or there's just a lot of people just bandwagoning it and just going short. This one is kind of showing some support here on the 50-day. We are seeing some negative momentum coming in here. Volumes on oscillators not looking great. Parabolic oscillator is not looking great here. We start seeing the 5 and 8 really cross through the 21, and the ticks break and close below the 50-day. We could see some further downside potential here. HC for Match there. What are your recommendations on shorting Nikola? It's hard to short Nikola right now. The puts are so overpriced, and it's just so hard to borrow stock. I wouldn't short it. I just wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't. $300 wouldn't even touch it. Like, you couldn't do much with $300 on a Nikola, because if you look back at Nikola, like these, it's so difficult to look at these because it's just such a volatile. If you wanted to short it, like, I understand these, once the market opens up, these are going to be super wide here, and you really have to get in at a very disciplined price to really see it drive down. Again, I'm not all about shorting something in the short term because I'm not good at doing things very fast. I'm actually a very slow person, so I like the things to slowly work out for me. And day trading and try to short something, it just doesn't work for my brain. Anyone heard of a company called Apple? Never heard of it. I've heard of a company called Orange. Apple's great. Like, we love Apple here. This is a beautiful looking chart here as well. It's been really holding that 5 and 8 exponential moving average, and then continue grinding higher. Having a little bit of a little stoopy here, maybe taking a break, maybe taking a little cig break, eating a waffle, just taking a chill pill, and then waiting to try to really break above that $400 price tag. That's what we're really betting on. What software are we using? We're using Tastyworks. Or no, sorry, Thinkorswim. We're using Tastyworks to trade options. Thoughts on shorting Tesla? So Tesla is one of my core long-term positions. So we'll see. I can't short it, but we'll see what happens. We're going to definitely do a live stream on Wednesday for Tesla without a doubt, and we'll have a lot of fun there. Tom, match is at price targets by some firm. I don't care what analysts say about price targets. Alan, hey there, has one have looked at in a while? Piton, yeah, Piton kind of had a transition, I believe, last week as well, really selling off, but it kind of came down to that 21. Again, I think that this could potentially go down even further. I think it's just kind of the first leg down, kind of the shot across the bow, like a warning sign, like, hey, look out, the stock could be coming down, some weak hands here. But we really need to see that 5 and 8 cross through the 21, potentially get down to the $55 price target. We kind of have a potential target around $53 if things are falling apart. Like RSI and volume zone oscillator are showing that, and the momentum as well. On the weekly side, we did kind of hit that oversold side, so potentially could be coming down to the $55 price target for Piton there. Chris, hoping we have a nice Tesla run up Monday, Tuesday. Bought Friday in case we have a nice run up. Again, Tesla is its own beast. It literally can do its own thing. It doesn't care on what you think, what you do, or what anyone says. It's just a monster of a machine of a stock. It's just super strong. Again, with the earnings, they could easily come back down to the 21 or even the 34. Like, I don't know what can happen. I'm ready to potentially buy more if it comes down drastically. If it goes up, great, I made more money. My dad's rubber broke. BA, we did BA a little bit earlier, but we'll do it again. It's been about an hour plus ago. BA has been really holding this line between 180 to 175-ish. Looking for this to continue. We do have a squeeze indicating potentially wanting to go higher. Really looking for it to break above the 193 level to really get above that to the upside. To the downside, it starts breaking below 168. We could see some downside pressure really start up and really hurt us really fast. Space Crusher, we already did. Space, we want it to continue on its path to 25. It could be trading sideways into earnings that are coming out soon. If it starts breaking below 21 and getting down to 17, 18, again, it's a very long-term hold for us, so we're just going to be holding it, looking at for $25, $30 in the next coming months. Chris, thank you very much. Guys, I'm going to do about a couple more stocks. It's a little bit past 11 here, getting a little tired here. I need to get my beauty sleep in, and we'll definitely do some more live streams coming this week. We're looking probably doing a live stream potentially on Tuesday, and then definitely one on Wednesday, and then potentially one on Thursday with some earnings coming out those days as well. And then, of course, the traditional Sunday stock chat as well. Guys, actually, we'll just call it. It looks like, okay, Dad, XON. Why do you got to do that one, man? That's not a cool stock to end on. No one cares about Exxon, right? It's kind of somewhat in purgatory. It needs to break above that $21 EMA here, which is on 45.50. Looking with earnings on the horizon, kind of just trading sideways, looking for the kind of break with a 5 and 8, so across to the 21 to really get that momentum going there. Sam, Microsoft. Okay, we did Microsoft, but we can cover it right before the close. So with Microsoft here, had a great sell-off here. It could be a potential buying opportunity, or it could potentially going lower. We don't know yet. Come Monday, Tuesday, we'll see some things more play out. I think that 127 percentile move, aka the 204 level, is a strong hold right now, which is where the 21 is. Potentially been holding this and potentially start seeing the 5 and 8 start curling up here, potentially with earnings on the horizon basically coming out Wednesday. We could see a pop here potentially to the $215 plus limit. That being said, you got to know your downsides too. We're really going to start coming around 198 and then potentially down to the 194 if things start going sour. Alright guys, I'm going to end it on Microsoft. I really do appreciate it. Thank you everyone for coming out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We have a link down below to join the Discord, and you can continue asking questions within the questions tab down in the Discord chat, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. If you're interested on joining the Patreon page, I would greatly appreciate that as well. We do a lot of sharing of different stocks, and people ask for more personal breakdowns of stocks and things like that, and it just directly helps support the channel as well. Again guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!